Welcome to Back in the Groove. If you're new here, my name's Keith and I'm getting back into record collecting after getting my vinyl collection out of storage after 25 years. Now, yesterday was another new milestone for me in my new journey of collecting records again, in that I went to a local record fair. Now, the record fair that I went to was in Cambridge, which is about 30 minutes from where I live, and was due to start at 9 o'clock, I think. There was an enhanced entrance fee if you wanted to be in the venue before 10 o'clock, and then after 10, it was about £3 to get in. Now, there were a surprising amount of people already in the venue before 10 o'clock, and I think that surprised me a little bit, just how many people were already in there. I got there at about 9:45, so I waited till 10 to pay the £3 to get in. And I have to say, it was super busy in there. And I noted several vendors talking to each other and expressing just how busy it was overall. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect from the day. I wasn't sure how much the record fair setup was going to have changed in the last 25 years or so, but it was fairly similar to what I expected. Now, I started by having a walk around the entire fair, having a browse very briefly at each of the stalls to figure out where I really wanted to start. And I didn't want to start near the front of the venue, because I figured that as everybody's coming through the front door, they're all kind of going to the first stall and going through that vendor and then making the way around the room. So I actually went around and decided kind of where I wanted to look. And a lot of my focus is on sort of classic rock, classic hard rock. So I was looking for people with, sections of those particular albums. And so I started at one that looked attractive and started to work my way through. And as I went around each stall, as I found things that I was interested in, then I would pull them to either the front or back of a section. And then I pulled up some notes, made a note of what I'd found, and then I'd go off. Unless there was something I found immediately that I knew I desperately wanted, I wanted to sort of work my way around, because I didn't go with a clear plan of what I was going to buy. I did exactly that. I went around each of the stalls, and then when I was ready to start spending, I chose which ones I wanted to buy, and then went back to the various stalls where I'd seen others. Now, of course, that's a dodgy strategy, in that you run the risk of other people coming across the albums that you want and then purchasing them, and then they're not there. But that was a risk I was largely willing to take. Now, I was there about 2.5 hours, and I have to say, 2.5 hours really wasn't long enough in the end. I should have been there much longer. I had a chance to have a reasonable look through all of the albums, but didn't get anywhere near singles and CDs, etc. So I think next time I need to allow more time. Now, I'm guessing what you're really interested in is what I managed to pick up from the show. And as I said, I've just gotten back into vinyl after having it in storage for such a lengthy time. And one of the things I've found as I've been working through my vinyl collection is just how much is missing from the collection that I'm pretty sure used to be there. So one of the things I'm aiming to do is replace some of those items that seem to have disappeared. And this is one of those albums. This is UFO Strangers in the Night. Um, a really highly regarded live album by UFO, right up there along with Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous, as a great live album. Definitely one I wanted to get back in the collection, especially at £10. Now, I had a look, and this did say that it was play tested on the label. Had a look at the vinyl, and it looked pretty reasonable, so I took a punt at that. Now, next up is this, the Metal for Mothers compilation. This was an album that I bought when I was in my teens, I think, probably 18, something like that. And the first time I heard Iron Maiden, of course, on here. And this was definitely one that I wanted to put back in the collection, having realised it was missing. And I was pleased to find this. They had £6 on it, and I offered them five, which they took. I have to say, when I took it out to have a look, it was fairly dusty and a lot of fingerprints on there, which didn't look great. But I got it home last night, cleaned it all up, put it through the ultrasonic cleaner, and put it on. And I was amazed actually how good the quality was. It was really free of any pops and crackles at all. So really, really pleased with that. Now, another one that I wanted to replace was this On Through the Night. Now, this was a bit more expensive, and I saw this on one stall for £15, and looked at it, and I wasn't sure. It didn't have a printed inner sleeve. I thought about getting it, and I left it, and I'm glad I did, because I found this copy on another stall, although they wanted £20 for it, which I think's a little overpriced, if I'm honest. I wanted this particular one because it's got some great stuff on here. This is Def Leppard when I really enjoyed them, and it came with the printed inner as well, of course. And you've got stuff on here like the Overture, of course, from the first famous single that they released. We've got Rocks Off, we've got Hello America, When the Walls Come Tumbling Down. Some really good stuff on here, so really glad to pick that up. Now, with regards to new vinyl, I came across a stall that was selling new vinyl for £10, which I thought was brilliant. Now, my wife's a massive Glenn Hughes fan, got everything Glenn Hughes has ever done on CD, but we have virtually nothing on album. And there were quite a few albums I found of his there for £20 a piece, which was just a bit too much for me and what I was wanting to pay per album, to be honest. But this one at £10, I think, is a bargain, and it's a decent album of his. With things like Can't Stop the Flood on here is a good one. Highball Shooter, I think. So a reasonable album. And to be honest, for £10, it was just one I wanted to pick up and get back in the collection. Now, similarly, this was another one that was £10. Although I'm saying these were £10, in actual fact, I ended up buying three £10 albums for, I think, £25. So it was a decent deal. Now, I do already have this one on vinyl, the original vinyl. So I'm not really sure why I bought this, but I think, and I'm hoping it's a remastered version. I just wanted to check that out. And to be honest, initially I'd picked out two £10 albums, and I'd offered the guy, I said, I'll take these, wanted a little bit of a discount. He said he wasn't really prepared to give much of a discount on two. So I said, well, what if I added a third album in, which was this one? And then the price came down a little bit then. So what was the third of the £10 albums that I bought? Was this. This is The Tubes. And I said in a recent video that the Tubes, What Do You Want From Live, double live album of theirs, was one of my favourite live albums of almost all time, right up there with Thin Lizzy's Live and Dangerous Again and the UFO one I showed earlier. Now, this is a live show from German TV, and this is from 1981, which is an era just after the Completion Backwards Principle had been released, I think. So there's a lot of different songs on this to what is on the What Do You Want From Live album. So on here, you've got a lot of things from the albums that came after What Do You Want From Live. So we've got things like Mr. Hate, Sushi Girl, Power Tools, all of those from the Completion Backwards principle. Then we've got things like TV is King. We've got Smoke, and then we've got some old classics like Mundo Bondage and things like that on there as well. Now this says it comes in a coloured vinyl. I haven't opened this yet. I think from what I saw on Discogs, it's a blue vinyl that comes in. And by the way, the Glenn Hughes one I showed earlier was a clear vinyl. Now another new album that I picked up was this. This is Michael Romeo, and this is War of the Worlds Part 1. Now, Michael Romeo, if you don't know him, is the guitarist from Symphony X. He's a great guitarist, but not only is a great guitarist, he is a great arranger and orchestrator, and I'm not sure if some of that's going to come through on this album. I'm sure it will. This one was listed at 17, and I think I paid him 14 or 15 in the end, but I thought that was worth picking up. And then the last one is this. This is Panther by Pain of Salvation. It's the latest Pain of Salvation album. And Pain of Salvation are one of my all-time favorite bands, especially in the sort of prog metal arena, along with Symphony X. They're right up there, and I really wanted to get something by Pain of Salvation on vinyl. Now the only negativity around this, and this comes back to, I guess, collecting in general and buying from fairs and things like that, is I didn't know much about this on vinyl because I'm not being back into it, back in the community. Wasn't really looking for specific things. I just happened to see this and thought, oh, that's something, you know, that I'd really like to have. So this is a double album on black vinyl, but looking at Discogs, it would appear that this originally came with a CD as well. And of course, this doesn't have the CD. So in a way, you know, haven't got the full package, as it were, of what was sold originally. So that's slightly disappointing, but not a big issue. Similarly, with the Michael Romeo album, bearing in mind that this is a new album, what I found was that there is a little sort of tear on the back of the cover here, which I hadn't noticed at the fair. I only noticed when I got home last night. Now I'm just wondering if these are available because they're kind of returns from, you know, people who bought the album originally and are unhappy with the condition of the cover or something, and have maybe gone back. I don't know, and I'd be interested to hear what other people think about that. Similarly, with the Phil Lynott one, Solo in Soho, looking at the catalogue number of this and looking at it on Discogs, it seemed to be a HMV special, I think, where it was released in limited numbers with a almost like an Obi strip on here, and I don't know whether they were, according to Discogs, they were meant to be numbered. Now this clearly isn't, so I don't know if I'm just looking at the wrong listing on Discogs, or you know, whether there's an issue there. So anyway, that's what I managed to pick up at the fair. It was you know, a nice experience getting back to the fair, getting in there, rummaging through lots of great records. I was slightly disappointed in the number of sort of classic rock stuff and new wave of British heavy metal, etc., available. I would have really loved to have picked up a couple of old Trapeze albums, and I appreciate these aren't going to be at every fair, so they'll be sort of grails that I'll just keep looking for, or just take the plunge and buy them on Discogs. I'm sure I'll be a regular at record fairs going forwards. Let me know what you think about what I've managed to pick up. Do you get to many record fairs? Tell me your experiences, and it'd be good to hear from you in the comments. If you like the video, remember to give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And I'll see you all in the next video.